Welcome in, Big Ten backers. If you didn't take the opening soft week 0 seriously, you missed it. Going down to the wire in Ireland. Georgia Tech and Florida State kicked the season open, and boy, was it a good one, B. Man, it was a real good one.
Hey, man, let's get that intro. Get to it.
Let's get to that intro, because that's what we got to show these people what we're about, man. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Love you, man. I'd like to know where Lou Holtz is right now. This is a tough team right here. We're proud to be from Ohio, and it's always been Ohio against the world.
Who taught you how to fight? Who taught you how to be a warrior?
I hate playing against these guys. I hate playing them.
Like, you're making me uncomfortable. Like, I don't.
You better get me right now. They're fighting for clicks. We're fighting for wins. Right? This game ain't going to be played in Hollywood.
We're in LA. It's us and USC.
We are at the top of the Big Ten Conference. I mean, we're at the top of any conference. I don't ever look at ourselves below anybody. We are
best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.
Sure, you get some of that NIL money that he's sharing with Dan Lanning, but sure you get.
There's some things going on that aren't right as well, so we'll talk about how to handle it.
Really, 2 or 3 beers or 4. I've probably done that 1,000 times in my life.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Love you, man.
I mean, who hasn't been, 3, 4, 5 beers deep, drink them down and say, I love you, man. I'm a man. I'm 40. I can say that. I can do that. That's my Saturday night details, baby. But anyways, man, this Florida State Georgia Tech game was a beaut, man. And we got to get into the sights and sounds of this game. This is Florida State before, boy. How did it come to an end? Oh, they were dancing the gig, man. They were getting it on in Ireland. But before, man, Herb Street, your boy, he got a little destroyed by these Florida State fans, man. What do you got to say about these Florida State fans getting that?
He was getting booed off stage, man. He couldn't talk. You could see he was visibly frustrated. Even Saban had remarks on it, and he was like, "It's not your fault, Herbie. I got your back. It wasn't my fault either. My team was just too good."
Oh man, let's see how these Florida State
fans though, they reacted. It was rough. But what we have on there is just the comments from Herby. We were gonna just get the booing off stage, but everyone saw that. Everyone was watching game day. You saw him get booed off stage. He could not talk. Like literally could not talk over the boos. I haven't seen something like that since Mark May went to an Ohio State game.
All right, let's see what Herby had to say.
An opportunity. And it's just a reality. You're comparing them, Alabama to Florida State. You got to give Alabama the nod, even though they had a close game against Auburn in a rivalry game. They beat Georgia on a neutral site, and Georgia was the team, and Alabama just beat them. You cannot take Alabama out of this. They have to be in, and I think the committee did a great job. I tip my cap as well.
Yeah, those comments last year for the playoffs really set off these Florida State fans, and man, oh man, were they a little spicy with a Herby.
To me, that was just analysis, man. He was saying spot on what he felt. Why you're going to boo him off the stage for it? I know fans, we're all fanatics. We're going to get crazy. But, man, Herby didn't deserve that. Come on, man.
But let's get to this game, man. Florida State, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech has lost 15 straight games at this point to top 10 opponents. The last time they beat a top 10 opponent was none other than Florida State on a blocked field goal in 2015, and that was a holy shit moment. And man, oh man, can Georgia Tech deliver, or did they deliver another holy shit moment? But that's what Beeve is here for. Beeve is going to get himself off all over the screen talking about the intimate details of this beautiful season opener.
You better believe it, AJ. Man, you got to set up the scene. It was Georgia Tech on second down on Florida State's 21, driving in, about to score, 1 minute left in the fourth quarter, but then a premature shotgun snap, just like your love life, man. It was premature. That snap takes them out of field goal range, puts them right back at the 39-yard line. So they needed about 10 yards to get back into it, right? And it's third down now. Screen pass takes it down to the 27-yard line, just that optimal spot for that kicker to make the magic happen. And boy, oh boy, did he make that magic happen.
Man, that when they fumbled that snap, I guess maybe not snap. Yeah, fumbled the snap, I guess if you will, or just missed the snap. I was like, oh shit. They just this shit's going into overtime now. They just took themselves out of field goal range.
You done fucked up, Aaron.
But then that screen, man, like how you not ready for that as Florida State, man? Florida State's defense looked really weak. They could not stop the run at all in this game. Like Georgia Tech was just kind of beating them up, man. It's kind of weird, seeing that brand and seeing what Florida State has become the last couple of years. Just to see Georgia Tech just pound the rock, beat them short, intermediate passes all day long. And you could see the energy was different. So when Florida State took that first touchdown, it was just kind of like they're just kind of in the moment, kind of relief. Okay, yeah, we scored. But when Georgia Tech, man, when they scored their first touchdown, they were lit. They were lit, man.
That was just like beating up the bully, man. Punched him in the mouth, and they're like, yo, we're ready. And they did it, man. I mean, Florida State was the bully that got hit in the mouth. They're like, oh, shit, we don't know what to do.
Yeah, what do we expect out of Georgia Tech this season, man? I know we're kind of somewhat high on them, but not real high. We were a lot lower on Florida State than, the AP poll. If you look at
we had them at 19.
Our top 25 here, I'll bring it up. You can see that we had them at 19, and we might have been a little too nice to Florida State having them at 19 the way they opened up. But I think everybody knew Georgia Tech was going to grow a little bit and be a lot better than they were last year. But I don't think too many people predicted Georgia Tech to put it on Florida State.
No, I mean, with Florida State having Florida State had a 56% returning production. And the surprising part was 3 offensive linemen were returning, and that was supposed to be a strength of the team, dude. But like you said, they got blasted by that D-line. I mean, we can't get this twisted. There's circumstances where a team loses the first game of the season and goes on and wins the national title, like my 2014 Buckeyes, baby.
It happens all the time. The best team doesn't always win in football, especially when you're talking about a massive road trip all the way to Ireland. Best team doesn't always win, but, man, Georgia Tech definitely came out to play. Haynes King was he was a monster in that game. I got to give it to DJ. DJ didn't play, outstanding, but he didn't play bad either. Now, he could have definitely had more stats, maybe, but that last drive where they had to
I'll throw you that stat line, man. I'll throw you that stat line, DJ.
Give me that stat line. Feed it to me.
70% completion percentage and 193 yards, but no touchdowns. So it was good. Not great, right?
He managed the game. He didn't make any mistakes. Of course, he could have had more yards.
No turnovers.
Now, that drive where they had to go down and tie the game 21-21, like, what do you have?
Yeah.
Two
fourth down conversions.
Fourth down and long conversions. Like, he had his moments. It just wasn't in the cards, man. But tell me about Haynes King. Tell me about his stat line, man.
Oh, you want me to give you that stat line? 11 for 16 for 69% completion percentage, 146 yards, 0 TDs again. But he did have those 15 carries for 54 yards. You got to subtract that muffed snap, that premature snap. So he lost 11 yards there. Probably would have been somewhere around 65 yards. I hate that, by the way, in college football. Give the quarterback his yards, man. That's some bullshit. Anyway, the intermediate passing game was excellent. His running game was tough. He was a dude. He came out and played. But for both teams, I really didn't see any deep balls and nothing that looked pretty coming out of the quarterback's hand as far as a deep ball. Intermediate passing was good for both quarterbacks, really.
Yeah, it seemed like DJ was lighting up the slants on that drive when they really needed him to get down there and get back in this game. He was accurate. He was dealing with the blitz. Even Haynes King, when he had that little swing pass out to the running back when they were kind of doing an all-out blitz, like I think they had good moments like that. But yeah, overall stats weren't monsters or no big plays or anything like that from the quarterbacks as far as throw the ball deep. But man, oh man, week 0 football is back. We open the week and open college football with an upset of Florida State at the hands of Georgia Tech, man. Mwah. Dude, I love me some football.
It was perfect. It was a perfect opening game. You sit down, you're wanting football all offseason. You come down to a last-second field goal like that. I got to give a little love to that defense of Georgia Tech, though. Kyle Eford, number 44, just filled those holes. We talked about it. He looked like Ron Jeremy out there, filling those holes, taking down The running backs, he didn't have many tackles for a loss, but they were all at the right line of scrimmage.
Man, he looked like the
lineman.
most middle linebacker I've ever seen in my
Just huge.
At least,
Number 44.
at least in the 90s, man. It looked like this was like 90s middle linebackers, the way he was geared up, man.
10 total tackles and just balled out. And then the dude, Jamal Hines, balled out too on the other side. 75 rushing yards. I think it was 2 touchdowns that he had. But there was a glaring differential in the game, and that came in the rushing yards. 190 on the ground for the Ramblin' Wreck and 98 for the Noles. That was really the only big difference. And Georgia Tech kind of dominated that game. It could have been a much different score.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Florida State's going to do with their running defense because they were
garbage.
They were gassed and gashed, man. Like, it was not good. They're going to have – I mean, you got NC State coming. I mean, Miami coming. Clemson.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's going to be some games where, like, is this defense going to get it right, man? It's a big question for Florida State.
This is what it all comes down to in the beginning of the year. People aren't taking enough credit for what the returning production does for a college football team. You have 2 things. You have recruiting, you have returning production. You need that returning production to be good, to be a solid team, unless you're just out recruiting a bunch of studs. That's what the top of the line does. They recruit a bunch of studs, so returning production doesn't matter quite as much. And I think too many teams are relying on that transfer portal narrative, where that transfer portal didn't mean much for Florida State, did it? At least
it did last
in the
year.
beginning of the season.
Last year, though.
It did. But it's not always going to be an end-all, be-all. I mean, I think that's a one-year solve, but you can't build a program around that constantly, right? When you have a new coach coming in, that helps. But Florida State's returning production was 56%. That's terrible. Terrible. Yeah.
And that's even counting the transfers that came in, because we count their production at their previous team coming in. So even with that, it's still low. So even if they hit the transfer portal, they didn't get a lot of guys with experience with that 58% returning production. So we'll see what Florida State is. It's one game, right? Like you said, one game. Doesn't mean the season's over with for Florida State. Now they're not even going to make a bowl or anything. It's not that big of a deal. It's one game. Obviously a big deal because you don't want to lose. It's an ACC matchup, so you lost in conference, so that's another hit against you winning the conference. But it's not the end.
I got one more thing to say about this game, and we got to get a round of applause for both teams, man. 0 turnovers going all the way across the pond like that. The first game of the season, week 0, the nerves were up. Everyone had their eyes on you. Everyone balled out, man. No turnovers. No real dumb mistakes other than that snap that was.
And I got to give it to the Florida State fans, boy. They traveled out there. They took over that stadium. I mean, they were legit.
That's why we want Florida State in the Big Ten, baby.
I mean,
that fan base.
Man, that fan base was electric in the stadium there, man. It was just like a home game on the way.
It was awesome.
It had like the fighting sounds of a campus game, man. It was great.
And way to represent college football across the pond, man. I'm sure if you were just there as a casual observer in Ireland, in Dublin, Ireland, you were probably like, oh, this is kind of cool. It'd be like me going to MLS game. I'd be like, oh, cool. I don't want to watch the game, but I like the atmosphere.
Yeah, it was the atmosphere was great.
Yeah, Brandon.
What up?
And
Warren
Suck Eyes. How you doing, bro? Sorry, how did he earn the booze?
So he pretty much said they didn't belong in the playoffs last year. So Florida State took that personally. I guess it was Herb Street's fault that they didn't make the playoffs. So they were really getting after him.
Herb Street was like, I'll give the tip of the cap. You lost your quarterback, and he even mentioned Michigan for you, that if J.J. McCarthy was gone, they probably wouldn't have been rated in the top 4 either. So it was just like the injury is what caused it, which I get. And then they had 2 games after that to prove it. Bobby Boucher, there you go. That's exactly what it was like.
He did.
Hawkaholics podcast was like, yeah, he was out there looking like Bobby Boucher.
He straight did, man.
Waterboy,
he looked like the best middle linebacker appearance-wise that I've seen in a long time, man. Had the neck roll.
It did.
Had everything.
It was
going,
90s.
Man.
It was 90s style for sure.
I want them so I can see Iowa versus Florida State. Iowa ain't ready for that, man. Iowa ain't ready for that.
Dude,
okay, they might be.
For Georgia Tech or for Florida State?
Iowa's gonna be really good this year. They're ready.
I was ready.
You got to throw a little punch at them, you know. There was a bunch of Florida State fans in London as well leading up to the game. So I guess they went from London to Dublin.
Yeah, Chris was in London.
Oh, damn.
I don't remember what you were out there for, but I heard you were in London.
Hey, man, vacation's a
Good
vacation. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to a video on how this thing ended, man. Here is Georgia Tech celebrating after the game, dancing themselves a jig. Boy, man.
Look at them out there all a cappella and shit.
Dude, I love watching them after the game. It was just freaking awesome to see them get a win. First time.
Oh, for sure.
In what? Since 2015, like we said earlier.
2015, yeah.
And they celebrated it, man. And tell you what, the trophy that this game puts on, the little helmet and trophy they hand out, man, those things look good too. I was kind of like, yeah, okay. Y'all doing it right. But time to pay the bills, Beeve. And then we're going to get into Big Ten football on Thursday night.
Dude, college football season is here, brother. We're in it.
Here, man.
Let's go.
It's here. Let's get spicy.
Yum, yum, get you some. Yum, yum, get you some. Yum, yum, get you some. Yum, yum, get you some.
Dano Seasoning, food's favorite flavor.
Yum, yum, get you some.
I'm Joe Burrito, your favorite burrito. Whoa.
Joe, we all know you're the best.
What?
You can always do better.
What you got?
Try the new Dano's Hot Chipotle.
Hey. Ooh, that's spicy. Yum, yum.
Yum, yum, get you some.
Yum, yum, get you some. And we got the best Big Ten game we're going to talk about first for Thursday night, and that is North Carolina versus Minnesota.
This is all brought to you by College Football Dogs TV, brother.
Yes, sir. Sure is. Thank you.
Here we go. I just had to throw that in there for you.
All right, so we got the Golden Gophers. They need redemption. They lost to North Carolina last year, 31-13. Drake May and Tez Walker are two key losses for North Carolina. Give me those stat lines and tell me about this Big Ten ACC matchup for Thursday night.
Oh, man, North Carolina has nothing returning. You just said it. They lost their all-world quarterback along with his favorite target. But what they do got is, just some average run-of-the-mill All-American running back in Omarion Hampton. Rushed for 1,504 yards and 15 touchdowns. Had a few 222 yards, I believe, receiving and a couple of touchdowns through the air, too.
Not bad.
But, man, they're playing some gamesmanship. Neither coach was willing to release the depth chart. So we don't know exactly who's definitely starting. But we do know this. North Carolina has a 53% returning production, and that is piss poor, my friends. Piss poor. That's worse than Florida State, and you saw what happened to them.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what this transfer does for Minnesota. Max Brosmer. He kind of tore it up. He kind of tore it up while we was there. We'll see what happens when he gets into the Big Ten. Can he maintain that same kind of stat line where he was kind of putting up yards and putting up touchdowns? But
what's up with all the New Hampshire boys in the Big Ten?
I don't know. Apparently, we like it up there. I guess the maple syrup, it transitions well to Minnesota. I don't know.
Hey, anyway, the likely starter for the Tar Heels is going to be Max Johnson, the 5th year and 3-time transfer. I mean, kind of obvious starter. He has the experience, but Mac Brown hasn't named him yet. And he was at least a partial starter in the last 4 years, 2 with LSU and then 2 with Texas A&M the last 2 years. So we'll see what he does. He had an injury 1 year, but he's thrown for almost 6,000 yards on his career. His best year was in 2021 with LSU, but some injuries in 2022 put his stat line down a little bit, and kind of pedestrian last year with Texas A&M. 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. But that was Jimbo's dumpster fire, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We'll put that on Jimbo. And Rosh Bajork, who signed an extension with him for some dumbass reason.
All right, you have
welcome into Ohio State.
Yeah, of course. That's what we do.
You can make terrible financial decisions. We'll take you.
We got plenty of money. It's fine. Burn it, waste it. It'd be okay. But tell me, man,
anyway,
do we have a score prediction for this game?
Oh, a score prediction? Yeah. Gophers by a mile, dude. It's not even going to be close. They have 71% returning production. They have that quarterback that led the FCS. You talked about him, Max Brosner. and he had almost 3,500 yards, 64% completion percentage, 29 touchdown passes to only 6 interceptions. And the Gophers are returning a lot on the offensive line. I think it was 4 out of 5 linemen are returning, and the best offensive tackle in all the land. All right? They're going to be good. Take my word for it. Row the boat.
What's the score, man? Come
all
on.
that bullshit. I'm going to go with 33-13.
33-13. All right. I'm going to go with 27-17 Minnesota. You don't just come up to the land of 1,000 lakes with this much returning production and walk away unharmed,
I'm going to take away your Badger card, man. You're picking. I can't believe that. Picking Minnesota. And the way those fans treated you last year.
Man. They're mostly pawns out there.
Some old men told you to sit down, you little bitch, and you're picking them.
And then
you're picking that crowd.
You were trying to tell me to calm down,
I was, man. You went off. Yeah, your little Irish blood came out. I'm going to kick your ass, old man. You almost treated him like Mac Brown.
I just wanted to kick his cane, that's all.
I ain't sitting down. I paid for these tickets, too. Anyway, you got your prediction. Both of us picking Minnesota. The Gophers going to have a big year. If they win this game, that's big. That's huge. I mean, you're going to tell the ACC to go back with their tail between their legs. Boom. Big Ten gets one up on them.
Yeah, I believe so. 10 points or more per both of our predictions. I'm going with a 10-point win. Beav's got them a little bit stronger than that. And then we have some other games to talk about, but
some nice games to talk about. Some nice Thursday night games. You got to see it. Rutgers, 72% returning production against none other than the Bison. It's not the Bison you're thinking about. The Howard Bison. I don't even know where they are.
99% chance to win for Rutgers. You're going to get your boy Kyle Manigai to come back.
That's your
back
boy.
For this year.
That's your boy. You love Kyle.
I do love Kyle. He was the Big Ten leading running back last year. 242 carries, over 1,200 yards, 5.2 per carry. And, Kyle, lick at my anus. Transfer from Minnesota to Rutgers. Beef hit me with his stat line.
That Greek freak, 1,838 yards, but a piss poor 53% completion percentage and very, very questionable 14 touchdowns to 9 picks. Rutgers is loving him there, but that stat line, maybe that's why he transferred.
All right, Beef. Score prediction. Let's go.
Rutgers by a mile. It better be 59-0. I mean 59-3. I'll give them 3 points. I'll give the Howard Bison 3 points.
I'm gonna go 44-10.
Right.
Go 44-10.
That's respectable.
I think they're gonna give up a touchdown and a field goal.
You just like Bison. You're like, all right, I gotta get.
I feel like all the Bison and Buffalo are playing Thursday night. It's like a new rule opening season. All the Buffalo and Bison have to play on Thursday night.
Speaking of mascots, we got the Panthers playing against Illinois.
All right, another Big Ten cupcake. Brett Bielema is smiling. He's deep throating those things like a blonde porno. Donuts. But yeah, UEIU versus Illinois. Nothing too much to say here, except for Illinois should be looking to their offense this season to lean on because they have returning quarterback Luke Altmaier, running back Caden Fegan, and wide receiver Pat Bryant. And
how long has Luke Altmaier been at Illinois? Been in the NCAA?
You can be in college football for like 8 years now, so it's no big deal.
Dude, this is
probably average.
Crazy. The Fighting Illini have a 97.8% chance of winning, and I am taking that chance. They're going to win against Eastern Illinois.
What's your score, man?
Not even worth talking about.
I don't even think they do. Here? Come on.
Well, let me tell you. Illinois has a 60% returning production, and I don't even think anyone puts out a returning production for Eastern Illinois, so I got it 27-10.
27-10. I'm gonna go 38-17.
38-17. Gotcha.
Illinois.
Brother, is that all we got to talk about?
Oh, of course not, man. We got to talk about.
We got something else.
We gotta talk about Colorado, man. We don't talk about Colorado next time we see Dion. He might not let us ask him a question, right?
We're gonna be boycotted again.
What? Hey, look, some more Buffalo, more Bison playing.
Yeah, we kicked the pig. Let's start the season, baby. Sports Bites podcast. He is awesome, and the Sports Bites podcast is covering Alabama all year long, man. So follow that shit.
Hey, for that Bama Wisconsin guy, we got to tune in, man. Us Badgers got to find out what Bama's rolling with this year. So check out Sports Bites podcast, especially when Alabama rolls into Camp Randall, man.
I mean, I believe Sports Bites has credentials all year long. He'll be in that media room talking to none other than Kalen DeBoer.
But yeah, what do you got about this game, man? I think Colorado fans might be a little shocked on the ability of South Dakota State to play ball, man. They better be careful in this one. South Dakota State has bitten some Big Ten teams in the past. Looking at you, Iowa Holics.
Oh, man. This is going to be a closer game than we think. I still think the Bison are rolling into town strong. They're going to be ready to play. They're always ready to play against these, what is now Power 4 schools. And Sports Bite says he'll be at the UAB Bama game. Nice. All right, man. He's great, man. You got to go listen to his podcast. Just, he has that radio voice. He's got that AJ voice. I love it. Go check it out. But back to Colorado. Back to the task at hand. Woo, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders. They got the spotlight. But I think it's going to be kind of a spotlight thing just like it was for Florida State. Primetime knows Florida State, knows the spotlight. He's got the spotlight out in Boulder. But the Bison take the lead and win the game.
Ooh, you calling it, man? You calling it?
I'm calling it. I'm going to get boycotted from Boulder, but
man, this team is snake bitten some Power 4 teams. Like I want to say Power 5. Got to get used to the new way of saying it. But yeah, South Dakota State is no joke, man. This opponent is real and they can play ball. So Colorado, watch out, man. I'm not going to go with the upset. I think it's going to be a really close game. I think Colorado squeaks it out by 4 late to the mid fourth quarter.
Ooh. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that for sure. I think they're going to overlook them. And I don't know. That transfer portal thing does not always equate. Like I was talking about earlier. Just taking every year from the transfer portal one time, I get it. You change the roster over, but you still got to recruit, man. You got to have built success. They got all those transfer portal offensive linemen. They've got the beef now in Colorado. That line has the beef. They're bringing the meats. They're like,
they got to be careful. They could get snake bitten for sure. But we are looking forward to this new college football season. We are all super excited. We're going to be bringing you Big Ten news, action, pregame, postgame, podcast before, during, and after, man. I am ready for all of the drama that comes with the Big Ten. But yeah, man. And we're going to talk about some other teams. Obviously, Colorado's up here. But yeah, I think that does it for our show. But be prepared for the morning after pill for the Big Ten and college football moving forward, because we are in business, baby.
Oh, that morning after pill's got to taste pretty good for Florida State right now, right?
I think they drank too much and hacked it back up. So.
They still got something coming. All right, man. Thanks for joining us. Follow us. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend. Come on. If you like us, tell at least one person. One person. We're building here. This is year 2. Things are only getting better from here on out. So the morning after, we'll be here every Sunday morning to bring you your college football recap, baby. Hit us up. Peace out. This was quick and easy. Play that intro again. Come on.
What a bunch of Buckeye nuts. Let's Happy Valley. You never had a buck. We got 10.